Thanks once again for dropping by the channel. If you like the content, if you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe, share the video if you enjoyed it, if you felt it was useful. Now let's get into this. So, some news coming out in New Zealand. Two of their top heavyweights, Joseph Parker, Junior Fa. Alright? There was talk, I mean, God only knows, there was talk months ago of these two potentially having a fight, sometime in the summer. This was all pre-you-know-what. This was all pre-that, when we were actually planning what fights we'd be looking at in the summer. So there was talk of these two, coming to blows, meeting, this, that and the other. It kind of fizzled out. Like, to be fair, it kind of fizzled out even before all this happened. But one thing that was also kind of being talked about was the fact that DAZN were launching their app. All right, now this is important when I get to the kind of back end of this. DAZN were launching their app in Ireland and the UK, amongst other countries. All right, now I know I have a lot of people who watch my videos from Australia and New Zealand. Okay, if I'm wrong about this, feel free to let me know. But as far as I was aware, in the kind of oceanic region of the world, like the Australia, New Zealand kind of area, DAZN isn't available there. All right, as far as I'm aware. So this fight, because it's pretty much like close to being agreed. I'll tell you now in a sec what's holding it up, but it's an absolutely stupid reason. But I'll tell you now what's holding it up. But it's close to being agreed. Okay, deal is in place for December. Okay, now that fight, because New Zealand don't have many fighters. They don't have many. Well, I say don't have many fighters. They don't have many fighters on a mainstream level who are, ranked in like Joseph Parker, top 10 heavyweight. That's fair to say. Junior Fa, top 30, top 20 heavyweight. I've seen Junior Fa. I've seen him fight a few times. I've seen his fight against Devin Vargas. Yeah, he looked okay in that fight. I've seen his fight against Dominic Gwynn. I think it was either that fight or it was the Vargas fight. It was one of the fights he was dropped in. It's a while ago now. I can't remember. But he hasn't fought since the Vargas fight. And obviously Parker fought Shondell Winters. Comparing Parker and his fight against Winters, the Babic against Winters, I mean, it's night and day. Babic's done a much better job. But Babic's a lot more aggressive than Parker. Parker used to be quite aggressive, but now he's more of a mover. These two fighting will be a good fight, I think. I know Vargas has been saying that, or not Vargas, I know Junior Fa has been saying that if they fight, he's just going to jab Joseph Parker. He's not going to engage with him. That would mean Parker would have to find that bit of knit and grit and try and engage with him, because Parker's boxing is not terrible. Like, he's a decent boxer, but I think when Parker lets his hands go and he actually gets a bit rough in there, that's when he looks at his best, I think. When he uses those traits, because he's got very, very quick hands. When he's in the 230s in terms of weight, his foot speed's not bad either. When he's in the 240s, he's very plodding. That's one thing. That's whenever I look at Joseph Parker, I see him weigh in, I'm always hoping he's in the 230s, because when he's in the 230s, he's got a bit of foot speed to go with the hand speed. When he's in the 240s, he's very plodding. His feet are slow. He's very plodding around the ring. So that's what I always say about Parker. But this fight's being proposed, close to being signed or close to being agreed, according to reports from Boxing Scene. I think it was News Hype as well. They said that the reason this fight is getting held up is because both parties are coming to blows over the gloves. Now I don't know what difference that would make. I know Parker is known for using fly gloves. I'm not sure what gloves Vargas is known for using, but if they're worried about Parker using fly gloves aren't a puncher's glove. I use fly gloves. They're definitely not a puncher's gloves. They're very hand protective. They're very comfy. So, I mean, God only knows. If it really is gloves that are holding this fight up, then, make it out what you will. In terms of the fight, as I said, I think it'd be a decent fight. I think that this fight in New Zealand, if crowds are allowed, I think now New Zealand, I don't know what way they're doing it with regards lockdowns and stuff like that, but if by December they're allowed crowds in, I can see this doing good numbers. I can see it doing very good numbers. Purely because both guys are known in New Zealand anyway. Parker will be known kind of more outside of New Zealand as well, because he's fought in the UK, he's fought in the US, promoted, he's been in there with AJ, he's been in there with Dylan White. So Parker will be a bit more known than, say, Junior Fa. But New Zealand don't tend to have a lot of top level boxers. I think that's fair to say, especially heavyweight boxers. So when you get number one and number two in your country coming together, we've seen Parker fill out, arenas in New Zealand before. That to me would do good numbers. And I think DAZN will be pushing for that, because DAZN are a business at the end of the day. And like, I neglected to do a video on Canelo and the issues with him in the zone. I'm going to do Let's Talk About Boxing episode 7 probably tonight, if not tomorrow. So I'll have a little chat with you about it then if you want to join that stream. But the zone are a business at the end of the day. And their way of looking at things is getting subscriptions by any means necessary, not in specific countries. Okay, so before lockdowns happened, Billy Joe and Canelo were in talks for May the 2nd. That was going to launch the zone in the UK and Ireland. That would have boosted subscriptions for the UK and Ireland. Probably wouldn't have boosted subscriptions for the US, but where they're launching their app, it would have boosted subscriptions. Now, this is a perfect example. If the zone are launching in New Zealand and Australia, this will boost subscriptions in that said country because they're aiming it at that specific demographic of people. They're aiming it at people from that region. So while this might not do great numbers in terms of subscriptions in, we'll say, the UK or the US, if you're launching that in New Zealand and you're launching that with 2 of your biggest fighters, it's going to do good numbers in terms of subscriptions. Definitely. So that's why I think from a business point of view, this fight makes sense for the zone. I think it makes sense for both fighters, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, both fighters realistically, I mean, where else are they going to go? Because, you know, they ain't going to get a title shot. Joseph Parker was number 2 with the WBO. Obviously, beating, you know, Lord Ricardo Schneiders is, you know, far better than anything. You know, I mean, that'll get you number 2 ranking, beating Ricardo Schneiders for Daniel Dubois. I mean, that's incredible when you think about it. But Joseph Parker is now number 3 in the rankings after that. You know, maybe he should fight Ricardo Schneiders then. He might be mandatory then if he wins. So Parker won't be in line for a crack at the WBO title if AJ vacates. So realistically, there's not really any other fights out there. You know, Dylan White is tied in with Povetkin. Fury's got Wilder. There's really no other fights out there for Parker, realistically looking at it. So this Junior Fat fight, I think it's a good fight. If I had to pick, I'd go with Parker on points. Yeah, I'd go with, what I go for? If Parker really puts his foot in the gas and is aggressive, he might even get Junior Fat out of there. But I don't know. I would go for Parker on points, but I think it's a good fight. I think from a business point of view, the zone trying to launch itself to other countries in the kind of Asia, Oceanic region, I think that's a very good idea to put that fight on in December. If there's a crowd there, even better. So, you know, those are my thoughts on this. Let me know yours down below. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe. Of course, if you are new to the channel, hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you did. Stay safe, people. I'll talk to you.